Hi guys, you're welcome back to my Adobe Premiere Pro Masterclass. If you're just joining us, you're welcome. My name is Imo King. In my previous tutorial, I explained how to color correct and color grade videos with the use of LUTs and with the use of Xenon Converter. So in this tutorial, I'm going to be explaining how to color grade videos without the use of LUTs or Xenon Converter, all from scratch. One thing you need to be familiar with while color grading is the use of your scopes. Now, the scopes are visual monitors that helps to evaluate the luminance and the chrominance of an image. In other words, the brightness and the color of that image. We use scopes because our eyes and monitors are not very reliable tools, and scopes give us an idea of what our image actually looks like. Now, there are many visual scopes at our disposal, but today we're going to be taking a look at only two, which are our IRE waveform and our vetroscope. Now, IRE is an acronym for Institute of Radio Engineers, which gives us an info about our luminance or brightness of our image. At the bottom of our waveforms, we have the pure blacks, and at the top of our waveforms, we have the pure white or our broadcast white limit, which is actually 75. In between, we have our shadows, midtones, and our highlights. Now, the vetroscope, on the other hand, gives us information about the colors contained in our image. In our vetroscope is a line that tells us if our image is getting oversaturated, which is at 75% saturation mark, which is the limit for broadcast saturation. The vetroscope can also give us information about our white balance, because if the color shifts to either sides of the vetroscope, that tells us our image is not properly balanced or one color is oversaturated. We also have our skin lines, which tells us if our skin tones are balanced. Now, the first thing you need to do is to make sure that your Lumetri scopes are available. To access your Lumetri scope, you want to go over to your Windows here and make sure that your Lumetri scope here is selected. Now, once you select that, you come over to your Lumetri scope over here, and then you right click and select your waveform. RGB is already selected by default, so you want to select your vetroscope YUV. So you want to come over right here now to our Lumetri Color section. Now, as you know, this is a color grading video and not a color correcting videos. So if you want to learn more about color correcting, I'll leave the link to my previous color correcting videos in the description as well as in the card section above. So we're not going to be doing anything in the basic correction tab over here. We're going to be diving straight into the curve section. Now, in the curve section, you will notice we have the RGB and the hue saturation curves. Now we're going to select first the RGB curve. Scroll down. Now, this curve right here controls the luma or the brightness of the video. This is also known as the master curve. Now, if you look closely here, you can see white, you can see red, you can see green, and then you can see blue. If you select any one, you will notice the line changing. If you increase or reduce this color over here, it's going to affect the other colors also, but I'll just take that right back. You can see taking it down has reduced the excess highlights in the video, but if we take it up, you can see that we're increasing the highlights in the video. Now, our curves manipulate the various channels that makes up our image, that is the red, the green, and the blue. So what you just need to remember is RGB, which is red, green, and blue. And also you need to remember CMY, which is cyan, magenta, and yellow. So what this means is that if we select and raise our red up, we are adding red into the video. But if we reduce our red here, we'll be adding cyan into the video. Now let me take this right back. Now, if I come over here and select green, if I take this green up, I'm adding green into the video. Now, if I take this green down, I'm adding magenta into the video. So you get it, guys. And likewise for blue and yellow. Now, the RGB curve is also divided into 4 different segments. You will notice an array of lines. Now, this portion here signifies the black portion. Now, this signifies the shadow, this signifies the midtones, and this signifies the highlights and the white. So going back, if we select this, our hue saturation curve, we also have our hue versus saturation over here. Don't worry, guys, I'll talk about this much later. And we also have our color wheels at the bottom. We have our color wheels and match at the bottom here. Now, what the color wheels does is that it helps us to add secondary colors. Now, let's begin to color grade our video. So the first thing I would like you to do is to take a look at your scopes over here, because like I said, you cannot depend on your eyes to properly explain this image to you. You will also want to take a look at your curves. You will notice that the images are arrayed up here and here is void. So what I would like to do is to bring down my shadow to a point where it touches the 0 mark in my scope over there. Bring down my shadow and bring down the highlights. Bring down my highlights. Now I would like to raise, let me see, bring down my mid-tone. Take this up and see what it would look like if I raise my mid-tone and bring down my highlights. Okay, no, I'm not really feeling that, so I'll bring down my mid-tone also. So close to 0. Increase my highlights a little bit. All right, so what this scope does is that it shows you if there is an excess saturation of any color. Now these lines that you can see here is our 75% mark. If any colors touch this 75% mark, it means that there is saturation of that color. You can see yellow here, you can see red here, you can see blue here, and you can see cyan over here. The good thing is that we don't have excess saturation of any color, but then you can notice that there's a little bit extra of yellow here. You can fix all of that in the Lumetri tab. So the next thing I want to do is to go up to my Rgb curve over here and select white. Now I'm going to create an S curve by just creating 2 different points over here. Now I can move this first point a little bit higher. What this does is it increases the saturation of my image. Okay, this looks extra, so I'll reduce it and reduce this. So if I up this, you can see what our image looked like initially, and you can see what our image looks like now. Okay, so I'm thinking I'll probably want to take this a little bit higher this way. Okay, let me show you what the hue versus saturation does. Now with this, you can decide to reduce or increase the saturation of a particular color in your video or in your pictures. So what you want to do is you can select this icon over here and touch that particular color that you're trying to reduce. Let's say I want to reduce the green here. You will notice that it has automatically created 3 points that are touching the colors that I touched, the different shades of green and yellow that I touched. So I can decide to pull this down, and you will notice automatically that I am reducing that color from the image. And if I pull it up, you will notice that I am adding more green to the image. I think I kind of like this, but the green is too much, so let me just take it down a little bit. Take it down a little bit, move it towards this direction. So you'll notice that I'm playing with only these colors, only the green part of the video. I'm not touching any other color. So let me see what the video looked like before, and this is what it looked like now. So the green has popped up, but I'm not too sure I want to leave this, so let me raise the green a little bit. Alright guys, so I'm going to go ahead now and increase my saturation. Now this depends on your video, and you also want to take a look at your scope over here. So you can go over here to saturation depending on what your scope is showing you. I would like to increase mine to 115, looks fine for me. Okay, 121 looks perfect for me, but it depends on your own scope. You would like to be careful not to exceed the 0 mark and not to extend out of your 75% mark over here. So this is what our video looks like basically after color grading it. You can see now that the green is obvious, her skin tone is blended properly, is popping out properly. Now this next step is very important to me. I like my blacks to always be black and my whites to always be white. And the way I ensure this is I scroll down to my Lumetri saturation curve over here. and then I create a mark close to this endpoint, and I create another one close to this endpoint over here. Now the idea is that this region over here is the black region, and this region over here is the white or the highlight region. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull this down so that my blacks are properly black, and you will notice that our hair has become more darker now. And I'm going to pull this side down so that my whites in my image will be pure white, and then you will notice that everything that is black is going to pop out as pure black, and everything that is white is going to pop out as pure white. Lastly, if I off this, you can see the difference. Now if I switch this on, you can see the difference. Alright guys, I hope you found this tutorial very useful. Thank you guys for watching this video to the end. If you did, kindly drop your feedbacks in the comment section. I'll be sure to respond to every single one of them.